classic form of both the alien movie and the Western, bring them together and create something new and exciting. As a director, that image was very compelling.
It would yield some really cool action.
Every day that something would be going on, when there were lots of explosions, because we had to sort of combine reality with the effects.
I like there's a progression in the action sequences. First time we encounter the aliens, it's nighttime in this old West town. You have all of our lead characters here, and then slowly on the horizon the lights come. And then before they know it, they're upon them, blowing things up, snatching people.
The 18th, 19th century mind has no idea what they're looking at. And in come, on these cables that we had rigged at 60, 70 miles an hour, these giant lights on a rig from the Spider Cam crew. Then explosions with these laser beams. We're setting practical explosions, blowing the hell out of this town because we've been able to rig it for some time, built buildings that were there specifically just to explode. So everybody came together in a practical way rather than relying on computer graphics to create this first town attack.
This was a first-time venture for me in terms of definitely the biggest stunt I've done. And we get harnessed up in this thing, and then this huge crane. Sometimes a guy will literally like jump off a building and his weight will yank you up, 20 feet into the air. It was crazy. I mean, I was running around a town that was exploding with Harrison Ford, and all of a sudden I get yanked, and I'm looking at Harrison as I get yanked up in the air. It was wild.
Whenever you're planning a film like this, you don't know who your cast is going to be. You have to assume that the actors won't be able to ride. So we planned it that way, and we budgeted, and we intended and always had stunt doubles available for these actors on any and all of these sequences, because we just didn't know how well these actors would ride. In the end, these stunt people did not do as much as we thought they would, because these folks did so well.
I have owned horses for 25, 30 years, and not that I ride them all the time, but I'm comfortable around horses, and that wasn't a huge challenge. I had a good horse. That's the challenge, is finding a mount that works with you. There weren't any particular physical challenges in this part. I was playing the old guy. I think Daniel had a lot more to do in that area than I did.
I try and sort of let everybody else do the talking and I do the action. And I'd ridden horses in movies before, but never ridden Western, which had always been an ambition of mine. They put together a team of people who worked on many Westerns, and their experience was just sort of invaluable.
We did stuff on this movie that has never been done. Well, originally we weren't going to do it with the real actor. There was a new design and the way we rigged it. It wasn't a normal design. It was something new that we came up with that made it more progressive and easier on the person that was doing it. And the stunt guys were going, yeah, this is actually really cool. So then I started thinking, well, maybe we can do it with some of the more game actors. And I started talking with the actors saying, hey, it's pretty good. If you're not afraid of heights, I'll take you up slowly. And we just progressed into it. We'd use the fake horse, basically. It works well. It's a good
This is really our introduction to the town proper. Not only the characters, it's the first time we're actually seeing the main drag of the town. It's very early on in the film. We get right into the middle of this fight that has spilled out into the street. I'll just say that, and then we can read through it.
Word is, Apaches took Doubtful Canyon and Grant Station last week, snatching people right out of their beds.
The genesis of the project was there was a comic done by Platinum Studios that caught our eye for its title. And I think in a world where studios are very frequently looking for big titles, there are not a lot that really stand out. And this was one that really stood out to us, but it stood out to us not just because it was a catchy title, but the promise of genre blending in a very unique way that people had never seen before.
The thing that I kept wondering was, why hadn't anybody done anything like this before?
The idea of cowboys and aliens coexisting in the same universe was really provocative. It causes you to react in an extreme way, and anything that causes you to react in an extreme way, I think, is ultimately pretty compelling. I've always felt like the Western could be tweaked for this sort of blending of genres.
Rehearsal and action.
The cowboy logic of it is that this is between us.
I think the key for movies like this, especially movies that are based on comic books, is to take what's real about the comic and make it feel real on screen without sacrificing the kind of larger-than-life quality of a comic.
No one's ever done anything like taking the Old West and having aliens land and invade at that time. I don't know why no one's ever done it. For me, I've been doing it in my head since I was a kid. I always loved playing a different version of cowboys and Indians. Instead of guns, it'd be like little sci-fi guns.
It becomes about doing something familiar, but make it fresh by the way you combine these things.
I'm sure it's been played out millions of times in little kids' bedrooms with their own toys, and we brought it to the screen.
A lot of people have come to believe that visitors from outer space had something to do with the building of the pyramids. And so it just seemed that if ancient Egyptians had had an interaction, why couldn't pioneers of the West?
I'm sure this could have happened, and it would have been wild.
Where's our gold, Jake?
Our movie hit the West with all of its tension.
In the West, people looked at each other sideways, and there was racism, and there was hardship.
The best Westerns acknowledge, all of it. Deceit and crime.